I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do.
Do your work with ease and speed.
PDF Spaces is all you need.
Do hours of research in an instant.
With key insights from an AI assistant.
Pick a template with a click.
Now your prezzo looks super slick.
Close that deal? Yeah, you won.
Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat.
It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The SparkFile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content. Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my SparkFile. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my SparkFile. I jump into my SparkFile. Let's open up the SparkFile.
Welcome to the SparkFile, where we believe that everyone is creative, but smart creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I am Susan Blackwell, and we are creativity coaches who help people clarify and accomplish their creative goals.
Know that just by listening to this podcast, you're joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
But you may also be asking yourself, ladies, what exactly is a SparkFile?
Well, a SparkFile is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations. Every episode, we're going to reach into our SparkFiles and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we're going to talk to some folks who spark us too.
And your mission, should you just do something, is to take some of those sparks of inspiration and make something of your own. So without further ado, let's open up
the SparkFile.
Laura Camion.
Not our smoothest introduction.
I loved that introduction.
Did you really? Okay.
My goal is not smooth. My goal is fresh enjoyment and interpretation.
My goal is authentic. So I think we nailed it. Nailed it.
Exactly.
This is where we're at today, folks. This is it.
Perfecto. Laura Camion, I believe you are sparking me today.
I am sparking you today, Suze.
What a treat.
That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to tell you, I have a big topic today. Big. Remember in Pretty Woman where Julia Roberts is like, big mistake. Big.
I do.
This is big. This is 100 pounds of topic in a 5-pound bag. I'm not even sure, to be honest. I think I do bring it all together to make a point about this topic. But maybe I'm trying to say that this topic has limitless potential for storytelling and creative inspiration. There is literally no end to the potential for creative expression with this topic.
She a biggie.
You ready?
I am.
Why did I want to say she's a brick house? She is. What I have been thinking about lately is love.
She a biggie.
That's right. Love. She a biggie. All kinds of love. Romantic, new love, old love, parental love, friend love, unrequited love, self-love, love of pets. So much love. Love is love is love is love. And I've been thinking about how love is all there is. And Martin Luther King Jr.'s darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I think about this moment in history, and it is one that humans seem to need to learn over and over and over again. love and empathy for every living thing, love of our neighbors, love of every single person who is different from we are. It's the only way we make it out of this chaos. So love has been on my mind quite a bit. And as always, I am reminded of the lyric that has been used in so many songs. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is how to love and be loved in return. I just am like, I don't know that anybody has ever said it better. But that's where it's at for me. I'm thinking about this kind of nonstop. And there was an episode we did recently, and I don't think this actually made it into the ultimate episode, but this is kind of what got me on this kick thinking about it. I was talking to you about songs that I used to cry to. It might have been
Yes.
after we stopped recording. We were talking about it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the episode is A Good Cry. And I was talking about how in my 20s, we all have personal, like songs for whatever reason, they're very personal to us that make us cry. And in my 20s, I chose some songs whose only purpose was to beat myself up because I had broken a couple of people's hearts in my 20s. And they're both were, and I assume are, really, really, really great human beings. And we were talking about how I thought like their only crime, if you could call it that, was that they had attempted to love me before I even knew how to love me. And I felt terrible about it. And of course, I felt like my only job, my only purpose in life was to make myself feel worse about it whenever I had a spare moment. So I would walk the streets of New York, with a certain song on that just destroyed me and made me think about like what a terrible person I was.
Oh my God.
I know it's terrible, right? But I didn't have any regrets. I knew I needed to break up with them, but I saw a pattern forming that was worrying me. So I was worried, like, was I always going to enjoy being on the receiving end of love for a little while, but then hit my limit because I hadn't yet truly learned how to love my own self.
Yeah.
Right. Which meant I couldn't let anybody else love me. Do you ever think about that? Like, what is more painful, like having your heart broken or breaking someone else's heart?
It's
both of them really suck, obviously.
It's the cousin question to which is worse, firing someone or being fired.
Ooh.
I have fired people. I guess I have been fired, not for cause, just downsizing. I think both are excruciating.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, being fired is worse. I think having your heart broken is maybe harder than being the heartbreaker. But it is depending on your emotional and neurological makeup.
For an empath, it's like almost one and the same.
Just
you know what
absolutely
I mean?
Gut wrenching. Yes.
Yeah. Especially like if you really care about the person, but you don't, but you're like,
oh my God,
I don't think this is. It's kind of surprising to me that we've never really talked directly about this, even though like we have been friends for 25 plus years at this
point.
And
we may have talked about it. And we may have forgotten.
Well, we may have forgotten, but also I think we've lived through it with each other.
Yeah,
like we were there to bear witness and to support each other through so much of it. So the other lyric I've been thinking about, I have thought about this lyric for decades. And of course, it's from Indigo Girls, their song, Love Will Come to You. They write, it's the very end of the song. And I wish her insight to battle love's blindness, strength from the milk of human kindness, a safe place for all the pieces that scattered. Learn to pretend there's more than love that matters. That learn to pretend there's more than love that matters. I think about that all the time, Susan. and I have for decades. Aren't we all trained to pretend that there's other things that matter more than love? But what is that? What is more important? Susan?
I got nothing.
You got nothing. The late, great poet Andrea Gibson wrote, anything other than I love you is small talk. Anything other than I love you is small talk. Can't say it better than that. The interesting thing is, once I did learn to love myself, especially, I became someone who's a little obsessed with expressing love in general, in all kinds of ways, to all kinds of people. I think when we feel it, we should express it. And I know that not everybody agrees with this.
Yeah.
Some people think if you say it too much or you share it too much
or too soon,
but it can decrease the specialness. And I don't think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think about 80 to 90% of the time, I will pretty boldly express it. And I don't have any regrets about that. It doesn't mean it's always met with the same energy, but not long ago, I was at this event, and I think I told you about this, Suze, but I was at this event where a number of artists were speaking on a panel about their upcoming work that they were going to be presenting. And there was one particular man, his name is Nusrat. He is literally responsible for the creation of MTV World. He's probably 60s, 70s, I'm not sure. But he was just the coolest. I am not joking. He expanded MTV to countless countries, brought all kinds of music to the masses everywhere. And he was speaking about an upcoming project where he was bringing Qawwali music and Southern gospel music together. And the way he described it was so poetic and so transcendent, so deep. I was absolutely mesmerized. And when the panel was over, I knew that I was going to be working with him eventually. So I went to introduce myself. This is what popped out of me. I said, "Hi, we haven't met yet. I'm Laura, and I'm a little embarrassed to say, I think I fell a little in love with you while I listened to you talk." And Susan, he took my hand and he pulled it in next to his heart. He drew me in so close and he said, "Never be afraid to speak of love." And I was like, well, now it's official. I mean, now without a doubt, I am 100% thoroughly and completely in love with you. This man and his way of being, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Never be afraid to speak of love. Like I said, mostly I'm not afraid to express it, but sometimes just acknowledging it does get really scary, right? The less certain we are that it's going to be returned, and maybe the more intensely we feel it combined with I don't know if this is going to be reciprocated. Obviously, it can be more difficult to express. But then I think of C.S. Lewis, who taught, love is never wasted, for its value does not rest upon reciprocity. It's not about reciprocity. Emphasizing love is a selfless act. It is a gift given freely. It is not a transaction dependent upon getting something back. When you look at it that way, oh my God. I mean, that's the challenge, right? Being okay with expressions of love that aren't reciprocated. Maybe they won't be, and you still express them, and that's okay. And that's really where I've gotten to. I know there are friends that aren't going to say it back. That's fine. But I feel I love you, and I want to express that and offer that. No regrets, as we like to say. No regrets about it. That's how I want to live. Not everybody may be there, but I am going to be a big, passionate advocate for the expression of love and all kinds of love. I was sharing the spark with my friend Ebony, and she, of course, reminded me that I should mention, which I think about a lot too. We all express love differently. right? There's a really popular self-help book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
And it outlines these 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And I totally get the idea. I actually think there's probably more than 5, honestly, because one I can think of is like, I like giving gifts. And I guess similar to the reciprocity thing, I don't need to receive a gift back. I think you're this way too, Susan. Like the joy is in the giving.
Yeah.
So I would probably add a few more here, but I think the point is that there's more ways to express love than just saying, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be really helpful to understand the preferred love language of the person you want to express it to, because they may not speak the same language and they may perceive your expression of love in a different way than you intended it. I was thinking about this thing that I read and I shared with you, Susan. We might have even put it in some curriculum about this person's theory that remembering is actually more important than the words "I love you." And their point was that like you can say "I love you" without a lot of meaning behind it. If that, you can just say those words.
Mm-hmm.
But remembering something is so meaningful to a person who's like, I remember you were struggling with A, B, or C. How's that going? I remember you loved daisies. I remembered you love Italian food. So I booked us a place. So those kinds of really thoughtful rememberings are expressions of love.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa said, the smile is the beginning of love. This is one of my favorite expressions of love, just to smile at a stranger, the barista, the delivery guy. A smile makes such a difference, and it can really boost the amount of love and joy in your own life, but also in the lives of others. I told you this too, Susan. I think one day I went out, it was like a Saturday or Sunday. I went to go get coffee, and I was in, just kind of accidentally, I was in a fully black and white outfit. I had just black and white pants on, and then I had like a black shirt on, and then like a black and white jacket. And I was like, well, this is a little bit weird, but we're going with it. And I went out of the house and I walked for a while and found a new coffee shop I'd never gone to. And in walks a guy, totally looked like a hipster. He looked actually quite awesome, like an awesome dude. And he was wearing a black and white sweater and like black and white pants. And he took one look at me and he goes, and I was like, hey. And we had this little human connection of like, oh my God, that's awesome. And that was it. We didn't do any further talking except this little exchange of joy, and then like wave at each other when we left when one of us left the coffee shop. And I think about him, and I think about like how meaningful it is to just have little exchanges of joy. And I think, like Mother Teresa said, the smile is the beginning of love. That is such an expression of love and human connectedness. I'm all for it.
It also, I feel like this harkens back to a spark that those just brief interactions that you have with strangers where you're like, hey, or just, hey, I like your clogs.
Yes.
Anything like that. It sends our nervous system a signal that we are safe, we are well.
Yes.
And I think it probably broadcasts it out to others as well. And it's a really nice way to live.
It's an incredible way to live. And I think we could all use a little bit more of it, honestly, right about now.
Yeah.
So recently, I've been trying to take in books and films and just get my creative juices flowing again. And I am struck by the timelessness, the ubiquitousness of love stories of all kinds. Again, we're talking friendship love. We're talking romantic love, family love. They're all around us. They're everywhere. They never get old. Love is all there is. We know that. Thank you, Beatles. Over the holiday, I read a few classics. One of them was The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway, which, if you can believe it, Susan, that book was published 100 years ago now.
Wild.
100 years ago. And it's all about unrequited love, painfully so. The number of loving things the main character does for a woman who is never going to be able to love him back. And he knows it. It hurts. And yet he continues to extend his love to her. Who can forget the famous last lines of the book where she says, "Oh, Jake, we could have had such a damn good time together." And he replies, "Yes, isn't it pretty to think so?" He knows full well it's a delusion, and yet he extends his love to her. Maybe to some, it seems pathetic. To others, it's the ultimate expression of love without the need for reciprocation. But it's brutal. I also read Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. I'd seen film versions of this, obviously, but I'd never read it. It's also interesting, Susan, that book came out the same year as The Sun Also Rises.
So interesting. I think of it as being yieldy.
Yeah.
I think because it has the word lady in the title.
Lady Chatterley.
Yeah.
But 100 years ago, that they still had those titles and used them. And it couldn't be more different than The Sun Also Rises. It doesn't even feel like the same time. I had the same feeling. I was like, I thought this was like a different era completely.
Yeah.
But it was 1925 or 1926, just after World War I. And Lady Chatterley's Lover is also about love. Romantic love, yes. Lust, passion, sex, all of that. But it's also about self-love, surprisingly, as she discovers so much about herself through this relationship with her lover. But a lot of it is also about class and economics too. So I was struck by like what a luxury the idea of choosing your life partner based on love actually is. Like it hasn't even been 100 years since that was acceptable.
Yeah.
Partnerships were based more on economics than anything else just 100 years ago.
Just to jump in here with love and reading,
Yeah.
I finished Sense and Sensibility. And I am so struck by how obsessed they had to be with how they were going to marry to ensure that they would be safe and provided for because they had no financial agency of their own.
Yeah.
And marrying for love was such a luxury.
I mean, if you found your partner tolerable and had a good life, like bully for you. You won the jackpot.
Yeah.
Truly. And Jane Austen, she's the best at it. All of her books have something to do with like females not having any agency because they can't make their own money.
Oh.
That was 250 years ago. Lady Chatterley's Lovers 100 years ago. We are really not that far from it. It's within our lifetime that women can have their own bank accounts and their credit cards, etc. So
It's wild.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
But for other love stories, I saw Little Bear Ridge Road on Broadway recently, and I won't spoil it for you, but there is an act of love in this show that if you don't know the full picture, it looks like cruelty. Like it looks cruel what this person is doing. It's family love and it hurts, but you see the amount of love that can be required to help push someone towards something that they need. I saw Is This Thing On? The film with Laura Dern, Will Arnett, Bradley Cooper. This is about a long, long relationship and how we can love someone, but we can't make them happy. They need to fall in love with their own life again. I won't spoil that one either, but it's another take on love. Hamnet, A Mother's Love. Damn, it is so powerful, so resonant. Point is, stories of love are everywhere, obviously, throughout time. And the thing is, humans will never tire of them. Do you remember that part of Eat, Pray, Love where Liz Gilbert writes about how all people really think about is love or love and power? This is what she wrote. I remember a story my friend Deborah, the psychologist, told me once. Back in the 1980s, she was asked by the city of Philadelphia if she could volunteer to offer psychological counseling to a group of Cambodian refugees who had recently arrived in the city. And they arrived by boat. Deborah is an exceptional psychologist, but she was terribly daunted by this task. These Cambodians suffered the worst of what humans can inflict on each other: genocide, rape, torture, starvation, the murder of their relatives before their eyes, then long years in refugee camps and dangerous boat trips to the West where people died and corpses were fed to sharks. What could Deborah offer these people in terms of help? How could she possibly relate to their suffering? But don't you know, Deborah reported to me, what all these people wanted to talk about once they could see a counselor? It was all, I met this guy while I was living in the refugee camp and we fell in love. I thought he really loved me, but then we were separated on different boats and he took up with my cousin. Now he's married to her, but he says he still really loves me and he keeps calling me. And I know I should tell him to go away, but I still love him and I can't stop thinking about him and I don't know what to do. This is what we are like collectively as a species. This is our emotional landscape. She says, I met an old lady once, almost 100 years old, and she told me there are two questions that human beings have ever fought over all through history. How much do you love me? And who's in charge? Everything else is somehow manageable. Love, Susan, it never gets old. I have thought about where I land with all of this. And while I think, like the sun also rises, dedicating your whole life to an unrequited love like he did is really sad and might be taking it a little bit far. Because I do think you can express your love and also move on to love others in other ways. But I kind of end up here with James Baldwin, who said, the longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is the work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work in those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our view. But there is still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back in our best moments. We are that person for another. I mean, that's where I land. We can do that for each other, can't we? Whether it's romantic or friendship or family, magnifying each other's light is really the goal, right?
As you have shared this whole spark, I'm like, oh yeah. And what do we make of it? It is so vast in terms of our creativity, whether it is the way that we conduct ourselves in a collaboration, or the songs that we write, or the plays that we enact, or the
everything.
Everything.
The smiles that we share with strangers. I mean, I have what do we make of it? Literally anything. Whether your heart is breaking right now, or you're afraid you're about to break someone's heart, whether your heart is aching, watching the world change around us, whether you think your parents loved you more than anything else in the world, or you suspect your parents resented you and you never felt loved, whether you're feeling love for yourself right now, or you can't find it, whether you're wondering if you will ever love again or be loved again, all of it is a place to create from. All of it is source material. And I promise you, all of it resonates. There is an audience for every single story about love. As members of the human race, we can't get enough of it. Writing about it heals us and will heal others. It's a certainty. Carl Sagan remarked that for humans, the vastness is bearable only through love. And Gandhi said, where there is love, there is life. This is an invitation, y'all. Express the love you feel in whatever way that suits you. We need it now more than ever.
What a beautiful spark for this banana pants time, Laura Camion.
Banana pants, and love is all we have.
I can see why you wanted to write it and just be like, I'm going to bask in this. I'm going to soak in this for a while. And I also think about younger you just circling back to the top of the spark, walking down the street, feeling a certain sort of way because you had broken someone's heart. And I think the reason you were listening to the songs you were listening to is because it was expressing a way that you were feeling inside and maybe didn't have the words for yet.
That's right.
But that is healing too. That is learning and growing too through someone's artistry, through their lyrics, through their instrumentation.
Oh my gosh, that's right. That was Sarah McLachlan, Adia.
Of course it was.
Where she like sings about, I know I hurt you. I know I let you down. And I'm like, let's just play that on repeat.
I bet. But it's, she lived through something and made that song out of it.
That's right.
So that
I could heal from something.
Yep. And now you are in a position as an artist where you can take your own experiences and make things out of them. And it lights the way for other people as well.
Every single one of us is. And there is not, I'm telling you, the more I've thought about this, there is not a love story that there isn't an audience for. Love of pets, like, love between a dog and a human, love between, a scientist and the apes they study.
A dog and a cat.
A dog and a cat.
Yes.
Animated toys. Love between animated toys. Like it's just love.
Love between the different parts of ourselves. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
However you're feeling, you can write from it. I think we were talking earlier how there's a Taylor Swift song for everything. And you can, just like Taylor Swift does, I think, talk about quick processing of emotions. She'll just put down on the page, right? In this particular moment, it's heartbreak. And tomorrow it might be a song of, exalting the virtues of a heart full of love. Who knows? But wherever you're at, you can write from that place.
Yeah.
And it will speak to someone. Yeah. It will speak to someone. So that's me, Spark.
Thank you for bringing the love. Bring the love. You're right. We need more and more and more of it. And I'll take it today in podcast form with thanks.
You got it.
That's it. I don't want it to end. This episode of The Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape and the Mohican people. And as always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Listen to me. If there is a spark you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how to coach with us to accomplish your creative goals, to write the songs, to write the books, to make the things that infuse love into the culture, you can email us at getcreative@thesparkfile.com, or you can reach us through our website, thesparkfile.com.
We'll even happily take your feedback, but you know the price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you've taken recently.
You can follow us on social at The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast. It really does help other listeners to find us. Also, if you like this podcast, we hope you'll share it with people you love. And if you didn't like it, it's okay. We still love you anyway.
We do. We love you. If something lights you up and gets your creative sparks flying, we're writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that's been knocking on your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to take it and
make it.
Make it.
And love it.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hey there, I'm Alan Seals, host of the Theater Podcast, a weekly podcast that takes you behind the scenes with intimate personal conversations that include the biggest stars on Broadway, TV, and film. My podcast has over 350 episodes with guests including Stephanie J. Block, Carrie Butler, James Monroe Iglehart, Andrew Barth Feldman, Alex Brightman, Patti LuPone, Ramin Karimloo, Brian Stokes-Mitchell, and even TV stars like Isaac Mizrahi, Ariana Madix, Michael Urie, Eddie Izzard, and literally so many more. My guests have spilled secrets, told coming out stories, discussed their fears and successes, and even had huge epiphanies live in the episodes, so you're bound to hear some things from my guests that you've never heard anywhere else. I've also got many deep dive takeovers on the podcast, which are consecutive episodes dedicated to cast and creatives from a single show, like The Outsiders, Back to the Future, and Juliet, Wicked, Beetlejuice, Hadestown, Frozen 6. I could go on. Can you tell I like theater? I've definitely got something you're going to enjoy. So go ahead, search for your favorite star and listen to their episode. You can find all the info about the podcast at bpn.fm/TTP, on the Broadway Podcast Network, or anywhere podcasts are found. If you need that link again, it's bpn.fm/TTP.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful. LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.